My name is Katie Black, and I am the creator of the style system called Fantastical Beauty, which is a style system inspired by myth and fantasy. If you're interested in any of the sounds of these types, you can find a lot more information and a free book on the website. In this video today, I am going to go more in depth with the fantastical beauty types of the celebrities that we did the face types for last time, which are Jennifer Aniston, Zendaya, and Emma Watson. So we did the face types last time, and Jennifer Aniston is a linear face type. So let's look at her S-curve to find her S-curve type, her body type in Fantastical Beauty. We are looking at her next to the S-curve example shapes. And in this, and I looked at other pictures of her, it seems pretty obvious to me that she is probably subtle, but she could be pretty close to the line between subtle and moderate S-curve types. So I'm including Fae and Nymph both as possible fantasy archetypes for her. I also looked at subtype possibilities and crossed out ones that just didn't really fit her vibe, like the subtypes that seem like it'd be a big stretch for her, or at least how she presents herself. I think of the subtypes as being more personal, and you might not be able to guess from a celebrity's self-presentation how they actually feel about their personal style. I always wonder about that. So for her, it's for all of the celebrities, I'm just going off of how they present themselves and what seems like a possible vibe match and what does not. So I've crossed out the ones that seem like too far of a stretch, which really only leaves Fairy as subtype in the Fae type for her as a possibility. And it's not a great match for how she presents, but I think that she could get some really beautiful looks out of it that would look very good on her, especially once we add in her animal familiar type and do a little sort of cross-referencing of the recommendations. But possibly one of the nymph types as well. Heket, possible. Kitsune, I like as a possibility for her, and nymph is subtype I also like as a possibility for her. I'm not sure, I don't have a favorite of those. I'd like to hear if you do, if you think one of those would be best for Jennifer Aniston. Let's switch to her animal familiar type. We'll stick with Jennifer Aniston as our topic and get her all the way sorted before moving on. The animal familiar types, I've added these line illustrations for, so we can look at the shapes in her face and body and ask ourselves if we are seeing mostly circles, mostly mixed shapes, ovals, rectangles, lines, or combinations of those. So when we put her face up next to the line illustrations for shapes for animal familiar types, what are you seeing? What do you see as the best fit for her facial features? For me, I really like rectangle. It's kind of remarkable to me, and I don't know if it's as obvious to you, but I feel like I can look at any celebrity and then put their face next to this lineup and feel just an immediate click with one of these facial arrangements or a combination of two that stand out really, really clearly. So for her, I see rectangle. I should say her height is, I think the internet says just shy of 5'5". They say that for Emma Watson as well. There's a little disagreement for celebrities. They're not always forthcoming with their accurate heights, but we're gonna say that it doesn't actually matter if she's 5'4" or 5'5". You're gonna get the same result for her regardless. You could try with her or with a celebrity of your choice going through the animal familiar quiz on the website and see if you get the same result. So for her face, I'm saying rectangle, and then for her body, rectangle as well. There's a little circle influence, and that lands her very clearly at lion animal familiar. So she is either fae or nymph and an animal familiar of lion, which modifies one another's recommendations. And then whichever of the subtypes you think would be the best personality match for her. I'm curious to see what you come up with. Our second celebrity example is Zendaya. I decided that her face type in Fantastical Beauty is full, and she's a secondary of a balanced face type. So if we pull up the S-curve types, again, to me it's pretty clear, especially I think considering that to me she looks underweight. She has a major S-curve type, possibly leaning toward moderate, but I think that that's her range. And that leaves her with Dragon Princess as her fantasy type, her fantasy archetype, and Maynard as a potential runner-up to check out, or if she wanted to do a quadrant and check out some of the others to have an influence from, if something really resonated, that would be influence from Seer or Angel as her quadrant. But really I'm looking most closely at Dragon Princess for her, and a little bit Maynard possibility. So I ignored the Angel and Seer subtypes, focusing on mostly Dragon Princess, a little bit Maynard, crossed out the types that seem like not her public persona, that they weren't a good fit for how she's trying to publicly come across. And that leaves us with quite a few subtypes, my favorite of which was Phoenix. But again, I'm not super familiar with her, so if you are more familiar and have a subtype that you like for her, I'd be excited to hear that as well. Zendaya is listed as being 5 foot 10 inches tall. You can try her on the quiz on the website as well. If we look at her in the face shapes lineup, what do we see? You can pause if you want to take your best guess. I see two very clear shape influences in her face, which are line predominantly, but also circle. The combination of line and circle is a really good fit for her. And then if we look at the lines of the body, thinking about evening wear, if you look at a variety of photos of her, sometimes she looks like just a line. The way the clothing falls is she's so long and the line fits really clearly. And others you see the circle influence in her body as well. And you can also see it really well in comparison to other people. There's a photo of her in particular next to Anne Hathaway and another celebrity, and you can see their shoulder lines and how different they are. She has the circle influence in her shoulder line, which gives it a lot more width than Anne Hathaway's. And you can see kind of a V shape created through this shoulder line in her upper body. So circle and line are influences in her face, and they're also influences in her body. And it kind of depends on which photo you're looking at, which seems more dominant. But at her height, that combination of shapes leads to Panther. So her final types are Dragon Princess and Panther, which is a really common pairing. There are no guarantees of animal familiars matching up with fantasy archetypes, but there is quite a bit of overlap because of the shapes involved, and you see that with Dragon Princess and Panther certainly. The last celebrity example is Emma Watson, and her face type for her fantasy type is balanced. And if we pull up a photo of her S-curve possibilities, this is another thing that it depends on where you pick which photo you're looking at of her. And in some photos she looks subtle to me, and in some photos she looks major in the S-curve, and that's usually a sign that someone has a moderate S-curve. It's not always. Some people are just very obviously moderate, but sometimes when there's, it seems like there's a huge difference based on the photo that you're seeing. It's like slight angle changes matter a lot, or slight weight changes create a big fluctuation in the shape and in the lines. That's one of the signs that you could be actually looking at a moderate S-curve. So that's where I put her, which gives her a fantasy type of angel and a possible runner-up of seer. I've eliminated some of the subtypes that seem like an odd fit. And I'd like to hear where you would put her with what's left over. Some of her outfits look like they are just straight out of Banshee style inspiration. So I think that she kind of favors that in her personal life, or you know, what photos end up online that look like they're from personal life, whoever knows. But there are some angel possibilities for her as well that I think that would depend on her mood. They would just give range and flavor to the way that she's dressing, and who knows what she would really pick for herself. But what do we pick for her? I'm not sure. I like the possibilities that are left. Which one is your favorite? So she again is listed as being just under 5'5". You can choose 5'4" or 5'5" for her. It's not going to matter in the quiz, and it's not going to matter for her in animal familiar type. If you look at her face next to the shapes for animal familiar, what do you see? To me, it looks like I could have drawn the mixed the mixed line illustration from her face. To me, that's a spot on match for her. And mixed faces can look, there are different combinations of features that can happen. This is one that seems pretty common, and it seems like a perfect fit for her. I didn't choose it for that, but it lines up really nicely. And if we look at the line illustrations, just quick line illustrations for shapes in the body. For her, I kind of like oval, actually. She's got a little more length than the mixed example. So what do you get if you enter into the quiz 5'5", mixed face, and oval body type? It leaves us with lion or cat, and her animal familiar type is cat. So her final types are angel or possibly seer, and cat as an animal familiar. The unique combinations, even though there are common overlapping types, the unique combinations that you get and the way that the fantasy type and animal familiar type modify one another's recommendations, or the different possibilities that they provide that you can choose which you like best for yourself, I think is really fun. I think that if we were to explore, it could be its own video for each of these celebrities to see what the combinations would lead to in terms of style recommendations, and if we could find photos of them already wearing things that would fit with those recommendations. I hope this video was helpful. If you want to learn more, again, check out the PDF on the website that's free. Check out the other style guides for inspiration, try the quizzes. And if there are celebrities that you would like to see me type, or questions that you would like answered or that I could explore in more depth, I'd like to hear about that. I would enjoy doing more celebrity videos and walking through the types of each, maybe even just one at a time so I could go more in depth. I don't know. Maybe 3 is a good number. You let me know. And I'll see you again next time. Thanks for watching.